Welcome to the Gentleman's Guide to Gaming and Vampire the Masquerade, the Ivory Wall, Part 12 now. As we continue, on the night before the day in which the Berlin Wall is due to fall, various events have transpired, largely in the Italo Club, the Torridor Elysium of the city. We have, in fact, we'll go to John at this time for a recap, just so the audience is aware. The players have been assigning experience points and they have recovered the willpower. I believe, just want to check with Eunice, have you recovered all of your willpower or do you still have some empty spaces?
Let me see what my full amount was. I can't remember it by heart. Yeah, it's full at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's everyone. Full willpower, and experience points all spent. Eunice, well, in fact, we'll see if you can tell how they've improved during the course of the game. But John, if you could recap what happened in the last session.
The beginning of the session was somewhat of an aftermath, the events of the previous session being so explosive as they were, with the exploding Helga. But it sort of proceeded sort of almost tamely at first. We discovered that many of the Torridor of the city had been caught in conflagrations that suddenly erupted at all of the locations tagged by the elusive party boy who had become not so elusive and been turned over to the kindred of East Berlin via the Ventru Primogen or Ambassador Salvador de Rage. From there, it was really a matter of figuring out what the next step would be. We gathered at the Italo Club to discover which Torridor had survived, with Masha putting out her various tentacles to attempt to draw the survivors to her side. Very few showed themselves. Among them was Karl's blood brother, Dieter Jurgens, who seemed unmoved, if not slightly pleased, in fact, by his sire's demise. Also, there was the erstwhile shock jock artist Gunther Lechtenbrink, who was rebuffed by Anna, and after an altercation with several of her boys, was forcibly ejected from the club or ran away. There was also a gathering of anarchs taking place, quite a large gathering indeed. Although after some discussion, Karl, essentially having practically given up on life at this point, decided that someone had to go and figure out what was going on at Prince Ermin's gathering at the Reichstag, I believe it was held at. So he, well, I wouldn't even know if he plucked up the courage, but he decided he should go since he didn't really care if he lived or died. Went along to it, had quite an interesting conversation with a taxi driver on the way there, in fact, which restored some of his lost humanity, but not all. And when he arrived, going inside via the elderly ghoul on the door, he was shocked to find Prince Ermin in full rabble-rousing flow, attempting to gather his forces, so to speak. He said that their inside man in East Berlin, they had some sort of mole who had given them the location at which Prince Gustav Bredenstein would cross the wall with his entourage, and an ambush would be laying in wait for them. On the stage with him was his Chancellor, Johanna Richter, and as he used his mind manipulating techniques, several of the kindred were unaffected by it. Karl was among those unaffected, and also the Malkavian harpy Schuller, who was near him. The two exchanged a series of looks, almost a conversation without words. Schuller eventually withdrew, seemingly in disgust at either what was being said or the manipulation that was being used, which was quite successfully rousing many of the kindred, including the sheriff of the city, who was also on the stage. But as things drew to a crescendo, a mysterious gentleman, who later turned out to have been identified as the Tremere Prince of Hamburg, whose name escapes me for the moment, but I'll just find it, Prince Siegfried of Hamburg, and his entourage of kindred, Karl discovered, moved onto the stage and confronted Prince Ermin, called him out, essentially stated that he was unfit to rule, and combat commenced between the two, Prince Ermin and I believe up to 6 of Siegfried's entourage, and also the Tremere of Berlin, or West Berlin, began to converge upon the prince, chanting as they went. The kindred, who had previously been held enraptured by Ermin's presence, were suddenly snapped from the spell and fled in terror. In the press of bodies, Carol was swept from the room. Schuller had actually exited before this, and as she did so, she was followed by a Tremere sort of shot-putting strong woman. I believe her name was Glenda Crom. And Schuller has not been contacted or heard from since that we're aware at this point. Anyway, upon returning to Italo, Carol discovered that the Malkavian sort of anarch leader, so to speak, or face of the anarchs, was also the Malkavian Primogen, I believe, had kind of gathered his forces and was getting ready to investigate what was going on, and also getting ready to strike, so to speak, although he didn't really give us a clear indication of what these strikes would entail. Though from listening, some of his people, his anarchs, were unwilling to go straight to war, to go straight in without attempting to have some words first. But inevitably he began to address the Toreador, who had withdrawn from the main chamber, and he'd already been informed via an anarch who was also present at the gathering, but was shouted down by the enraptured kindred of what had taken place, although Carl, I think, explained some more of the aftermath to him, as his agent had exited the room beforehand. And they agreed to a sort of neutrality between the Toreador and the anarchs, whereby if they maintained their neutrality and didn't interfere with anarch business, then they would be considered, exempt from whatever strikes the Malkavian Schweizig had planned. He also stated that the anarch movement, despite our previous suspicions, had nothing in fact to do with the church, though given the Masonic symbology covering the person of Prince Siegfried of Hamburg, it now seems more likely that the Tremere were involved there, possibly with a third party, as Masha had confirmed to us that the gift of becoming invisible is not one held by the Tremere clan. So from there we essentially are now trying to plot our next move with Dieter, but essentially it had been agreed at the end that we should find some way to contact the Nosferatu of East Berlin and attempt to in some way warn Prince Gustav of the ambush that would likely await him at the hands of the Tremere and their allies, whoever they may be.
Anna or Eunice, is there anything that you'd like to add to that? Pretty thorough read.
Really, the only thing I guess is that I just remind that I indeed did give Party Boy to Salvatore Del Rage the session before last as as a peace offering, so that he would smuggle me to the east. And I haven't heard from him after that, and I've tried not to bring stuff about the East up too much, so that I wouldn't seem like too much of an East sympathizer, or that I have a, or anything like that. But at the same time, I was the one who suggested the East the most and stuck to it, So that's just about the only thing I have to add or to underline.
Okay, but at the time that you had sent Dieter Jürgens off to make his contact with David Siegel, the spy master chancellor, possibly Primogen of East Berlin. You've never actually met Siegel before, but pretty much everyone has heard of the Nosferatu. There aren't any Nosferatu in the on the west side of the wall, at least none that are known about. They are a clan that when the wall came up, drifted pretty much to an individual, to Gustav Breidenstein's rule, just as the Tremere drifted west to Ermund. The Toreador, likewise, were largely on the west, although a few of them did remain in the east. And the Ventru, likewise, were largely the same in reverse. Most of the Ventru went east. A few remained west, but there aren't any really to speak of in West Berlin in these nights. Of course, now there are very few Toreador left in West Berlin, as we know from the party boy antics, and which can possibly be traced to the Tremere, or, as is most commonly being espoused, the actions of the deceased Helga Rothbauer, who Anna and Karl were both proclaiming quite loudly to be Party Boy's sponsor, as advised by Salvatore. Salvatore advised that because involving the Tremere in anything political, especially if the Camarilla are on their side en masse, would probably not bode well for anyone who is trying to denounce them. Times have changed, of course, within the last few hours. What with the Tremere attack on Prince Erman in the Reichstag, the outcome of which is currently unknown. Their involvement in invasion of West Berlin cannot be disputed at this point, or we're trying to liberate it and ultimately then save it from Breidenstein's autocratic rulership, which he is known for in East Berlin, or whether Prince Siegfried merely wishes to expand his domain and create a bit of Lebensraum in Berlin is yet to be seen as well. There are a lot of things in the air at this time. No one really knows where the spinning plates are going to land, or indeed whether they will keep on spinning once the wall finally collapses. So, Jürgens has been sent off to make contact with Siegel, and this is around 2 a.m. in the morning. He said that he would be able to get back to the coterie before the dawn comes with an answer. It takes 2 hours for Jürgens to return. But when he does, reappearing at the Atto, where emotions are still running high between the kindred in attendance, being the two of you and Masha. The Anarchs have now all departed, and no other kindred have made their presence known. Gunther has returned. And the mortal populace who are partying on all night. You don't need 24-hour drinking licenses in 1989 when you're about to celebrate the liberation and complete freedom of a country, of a continent, from the shadow of Soviet communism. At least that is the thought that many humans are thinking. This is a new day that's coming. It's a brand new night for kindred as well, and it isn't just hope that comes with it, it's also terror, especially for the kindred of West Berlin, who currently seem to be caught between two very aggressive forces. But yes, Jürgen returns, squeezing his way through the dancing masses who are getting increasingly drunk, increasingly high. There's been a few fights breaking out, but for the most part the mood downstairs is entirely positive. The music doesn't stop, the alcohol just doesn't stop flowing. Everyone is giddy with excitement, some because they're going to meet relatives they haven't seen for decades, friends they haven't seen for decades, some simply because they want to see a geographical location in East Berlin that they haven't seen for decades. Bear in mind as well, Berlin itself is in the Eastern Bloc. It is on the east side of Germany. So this entire liberation that is promised is a fantastic opportunity for everyone in West Berlin. It is an irrepressible mood of optimism until Dieter emerges in the gallery where you all are, where the attitude is slightly more subdued. He's wringing his hands. Is everyone well?
Just anxious to hear the news.
I was able to make contact with Siegel via one of his child. As I say, I've had dealings in the past, just trade, essentially. Siegel himself wants to meet before the wall comes down. Immediately. We only have around 2 hours before the sun comes up, but he wishes to meet at the Lehrte Stadbahnhof, the central station. It is said the Nosferatu have easy methods of egress on the trains, even when the lines aren't running. He wishes to meet with the Toreador of the city after what I have told him, that we are making overtures, that we have information, or at least we know that the Tremere intends, or Airmen intended, on attacking Bridenstein at their chosen point of entry via the wall. Siegel seemed very interested. It is strange for him to come in person. He is a fat spider. By tradition, he sits at the middle of a web, but he very rarely consorts with West Berlin. Very rarely indeed. For him to be making this journey, he must be taking our intelligence quite seriously.
I look around everybody to see kind of the reactions on everybody's face, and I'll just be ready to say that let's get on the move then.
Yeah, Carl's already got on his feet. He doesn't say anything, he just stands up, sort of straightens his shirt, gets ready to go.
And Masha likewise. She stands up, goes for the staircase. We can take my car unless you'd rather your boys accompanied, Anna. In which case we'll go in separate vehicles.
I'll turn to Werner and I'll say, I'm going to need you to be ready in a separate car, but or actually go by foot, and I need someone who not tag along on this one, someone to be on the outside, but Klaus, Bruno, and I always keep forgetting, was it Fritz or Friedrich that is
Friedrich is the one who is currently catatonic.
I'll mark an X on him.
Yeah, Fritz is the slightly more effeminate one who runs the club for you, or did before it went up in flames.
Okay. I'll actually say that take Fritz with you, and I need you to stay on the outside. I'll take Klaus and Bruno with me on this meet as my muscle.
My little one, just one thing. If we are staying on the outside, it is late, I will be quick. Would you agree to us finding some kind of sealed, covered vehicle, a van or a truck or something like that? If we need to pick you up with very short amount of time before the sun comes up, we wish to be able to keep you somewhere safe where you won't be harmed.
That is actually a excellent idea. And I kind of smile at Werner, give him the deserved affection for giving out ideas. I value him mostly for his mind and experience when it comes to abilities and traits. And I'll say, get it done, but remember to check up on Friedrich with Fritz. I want you to go and check up on him, that if he's gotten any better or if he's gotten any worse.
Of course. We're moving now.
I'll give him a little pat on the chest there, and I'll just then turn to Marsh and I'll say, I'll take 2 of my boys with me.
Very good. I will be leaving my retainers to look after the club. We do not know that the aggressions for the night have ended, and I need to keep some ghouls here in case this place is attacked during the day as well, and we do not get back in time. Do any of you have a place that is safe that we can stay during the day if this covered wagon approach? Although that may be ideal, in fact. If your Werner can bring some kind of van, then at least we will have a sanctuary that's on the move. If the Tremere intend to use their own servants, or Bridenstine intends to do the same to burn out more havens, then we're best off being in a place that can quickly move around without us having to be woken.
Mm. Yes, my haven wasn't tagged, but it's not, its location is not a big secret, so I wouldn't recommend spending the day there at this point.
She points over at Werner. Ensure you get a big van. Make sure it can contain at least 5 bodies. He nods. He gives you a smile, Anna, and he leaves.
I'll take Klaus and Bruno by the hand, like both my hands, like for one of them, and I'll walk with them, like me in between them two, between the two, as we get out of the Tallow.
Hope that's not a narrow staircase.
Bruno leads. You make your way to your vehicles. You won't all fit in one, so you spread yourself across with your retainers or in separate cars. The streets are actually packed. So you very rarely see an evening like this, where even this, well, early in the morning as it is, there are revelers in the street, people lighting up barbecues, there are fireworks going off. The event hasn't even happened yet, but you know, as you're cutting through the city and traffic is quite snarled up even, people are making their way towards the wall. There must be some kind of celebration going on or starting up atop it. The public are speaking, the population is driving this forward. If the political parties will not bring this wall down by tomorrow, by the throng who are marching alongside the car. Some of them even, in some cases, you see people climbing over cars, some people standing on roofs, holding up banners, waving German flags, waving European flags. The people will bring the wall down. You are sure of that.
Yeah, I'll designate my 2 ghouls to take the car by themselves, and I'll be in the same car with Carl and Marsha and so forth.
The 4 of you and your 2 ghouls, Bruno and Klaus, you get to the there to Stadtbahnhof around 3 a.m. Around 3 a.m. No, it's a bit later than that. We'll say about 3:15 by the time you arrive, and it's pretty silent around here, to be honest. Trains don't run this late unless they're hauling cargo, and so there's no passengers waiting on platforms. There's no public in the car park or anything like that. Dieter still looks quite nervous. He looks very unsure of himself. You'll have to forgive me. Siegel is known to be something of a... He's quite old. His power is known.
Acknowledged.
I was told we're to meet him on platform 2, so I suppose that is where we must go.
move along with everybody else, but I'll keep my two boys close to me.
You following on, Carl?
Yeah, he'll just he's being the strong silent type right now, although he doesn't look it.
Carl, if I would like you to do the good old perception and alertness, please.
You fool! Is it quiet here?
Very, very quiet, yeah. So, yeah, you can have your heightened senses.
If I'm feeling
Sure.
suspicious, okay. All of the dice. That kills one, which will kill that. So 1, 2, 3, 5 successes.
Oh, you've hacked that dice out.
Obviously, yeah. I wish I knew how, I swear to God. 10.
It actually takes... all those successes aren't... some of them are cancelled out. The difficulty is slightly higher, but you still see them. The figures that are stood around the silent, still trains. The humans, mortals that are stood there, they're like statues. They are guards on duty, perfectly trained. They're not patrolling. They're not moving around. In fact, most of them are hiding in shadows to such a brilliant degree you could barely perceive them, but obviously you just have. You can actually see that several of them are armed. You count between 5 men, at least 3 submachine guns.
Alright, are we far enough away that I could whisper to the rest of them?
Yeah. This is sort of on the train yard, so as you're crossing the car park, you have before you the main station entrance, but if you look to the right of that, you can actually see over towards the tracks where some of the trains are static, and either standing in doorwells or between carriages, there are these men who just seem to be playing musical statues, armed with firearms.
Carl trying not to sort of like glance around too obviously. We'll just start like speaking as he continues walking, very very quietly, like probably barely even moving his lips. He'll say how many men there are, which see probably about 7 or 8 guys today. Several are armed with guns.
Masha nods. I saw a few of them as well. We will be very cautious. How many of you 3 know how to run? And that actually smiles.
Yeah, Carl just smiles, doesn't say anything.
Anna?
I look down at my shoes, which are high heels.
Belter.
Anna, your boys are responsible for your safety. She actually looks over at Klaus and Bruno. If needs be, one of you throws Anna over your shoulders. None of us are being slain here on this night. You understand? You look after your mutter tonight. Klaus actually says, yes, auntie.
I'll roll my eyes.
You make your way towards the station. There's no one at the ticket office. It's a simple carousel to get through towards the railway platforms. You have to go through an underground section in order to reach platform 2, where your footsteps echo around the tunnel. You can actually hear, as you emerge on the other side, the sounds of music from probably around 500, 600 yards away, maybe a bit further, partying in the streets. No one's entered the station yet. Why would anyone throw a party there? But the feeling of revelry, it's muffled, but you can hear it. You can hear a boom, 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 boom in the background. Sat rather, on a bench on the platform is what can only really be described as a vagrant, with a sort of hat turned down low. Newspaper folded on his lap.
I'll be looking at Marsha because Marsha definitely outranks me as a Primogen member. I'm thinking, am I expected to just shut up and let her do the talking mostly during this? But
Marsha kind of puffs her chest out a little, and the vagrant naturally turns his head to look at her and removes his hat to reveal a horribly bandaged-faced man with pus leaking through. Even in the moonlight, you can see the yellow, sallow features that are leaking through the cloth. One of his eyes completely mottled and discoloured. Only one piercing pupil particularly clear through what looks like festering wreckage of his skin. The rest of his clothes, you could best describe him, I suppose, as a Stasi or Gestapo agent, in that he is wearing a long coat, he is wearing a scarf. The only thing you can really see of him, as his hands are gloved as well, is this horrible face. Or the only part of his face you can really see are two chapped lips and one working eye. The rest of it's just putty.
Carl manages to compose himself somewhat, but he does narrow his eyes, and yeah, like the revulsion is hidden, but probably plain to someone who looks harder.
Oh, so you were doing self-control there?
Yeah, in case I just went, ooh.
Oh my god, he's...
Well, this is the first time Carl's seen a Nosferatu, and I figured
Yeah.
it would...
is that a human being?
Yeah.
He's a man!
He goes full Jim Ross on this guy. My God, he is broken in half! So, yeah.
As he takes his hat off, Masha, it has been a very long time. I've missed your scent. I picked it up on the wind. You forced me to my feet, as you force so many males onto their feet. And this must be what's left of your clan. Masha says there is one other, although he is not of Berlin. Not of Berlin. That would be your Gunther Lechtenbrink. So he's still with you, but not with us. He is on his own, and he is not a part of our family. Ah, yes, you still hold to the familial tradition, your Toreador. How delightful. Now, I arranged this meeting at short notice because there will be events transpiring very soon. I am told by your Jürgens that an ambush is planned, that my prince, your prince soon, is due to perhaps receive some kind of attack as he attempts to enter the west. Where you got the idea from that he's coming west? Well, either way, let's say that intelligence is correct, and let's say our plans have changed, and let's say we put a few eyes on that location anyway to see what West Berliners rally, and see who plan to do Bridenstine harm. Let's say all of this comes to pass. What are the Toreador looking for in exchange? A place of prominence under Bridenstine's rule? Marsha says, at this time we seek only to survive the coming nights. There is war about to run rampant on our streets. Karl has witnessed the Tremere attack on Ernst Ehrman, our erstwhile prince. He and Anna have both spoken with the Anarchs under Schwesig, and they intend to take the fight to the Tremere and possibly Bridenstine, should he make encroachment into what they deem to be their territory. And of course then there's the East Berliners, and we've already suffered too many losses in the West. We wish to survive, quite frankly. Well, survival is very easy. You just need to find a hole in the ground, hide in it, and wake up in a month or two. But I'm guessing you want some kind of active role in what's to come. I'm guessing you don't just wish to be the Nosferatu at the bottom of the heap. No Toreadors ever wanted that. Masha rather stiffly shrugs. My honest intention is just to survive. I've never sought the position of Primogen. If Rosa, as little as I respect her, is to be held over as Primogen, if Bridenstine were to be prince, then she is welcome to the role. I will go back and do things I enjoy doing rather than this politicking. I can't speak for my clanmates. We are few, and they are individuals with their own opinions. I will represent them, but I will not be their mouthpieces at this time. Might I introduce Anna van Hagen, procurer?
I'll give him a courtesy and say, in a very nice tone, Herr Siegel. Pleasure to make your acquaintance for the first time.
You're a procurer.
Yes, I procure and provide pleasures and necessities of unlife when it comes to vessels.
He actually laughs, and when he does, you see inside his mouth that many of his teeth are missing, and those that aren't are horribly yellow or black. It's a toothy, coughing laugh, and he smiles at the end of it. With the Ventru of the East, I can assure you that procurers will be in high demand, and I know that's what Dieter is also somewhat specialized in a rather localized field, those who enjoy a little alcohol with their vitae. What about Herr... Is it you? You're Herr Schweitz, aren't you? You are the child of Helga. Yes, we had many talks with Helga in recent months. Shame we couldn't come to any kind of arrangement. Helga no longer with you, then?
Carl doesn't say anything. He kind of looks like he's going to say something on a few occasions, but he always sort of closes his mouth.
Got your tongue, Herr Schweitz. Never seen a freak before. I can undo the bandages if you like, but it would take most of the skin with them. So let's avoid that particular pleasantry. Just accept it that my clan is afflicted with a certain condition that your kind find unpalatable. What is your role, and where is your sire?
He kind of looks at Masha and then looks back at him again.
Masha actually nods, giving you consent to speak freely.
He says, I was a chef. My sire's dead. He doesn't say any more.
Now, Bridenstine would like you. He likes kindred that gets straight to the point. Chef. Well, you deviants, you toreador, you do embrace for all the wrong reasons.
Herr Siegel, I must. Mr. Schweitz here is also very. He's a very humble when it comes to bragging about his capabilities, but especially when it comes to our clan, he has been the outmost of a master at reconnaissance and enforcement when it comes to other members of our clan in our side of the city. He has been most useful and very decisive factor in many sticky situations.
That's interesting to hear. Then, in that case, Schweiz, tell me, I know your clan is blessed with the ability to see, although sometimes you focus a little too hard and lose yourself in the image. Tell me, Schweiz, how many men did you see in the rail yard when you were approaching?
How many did I see? Was it 8?
I said you actually saw 5, 3 with submachine guns.
5. He will quite honestly state 5, 3 were armed.
You see he's weighing something up in his mind. That's interesting. Judging from your approach to the station.
I'm thinking,
Yes.
please don't tell me that that he posted only 4.
Yeah.
Well, he's one of them. The other 3 armed guys are his and 1 more.
He actually gets a, well, looks like a little duck call out, and turns out to be one when he goes. He doesn't say why he's done that, and then he puts the duck call back in his pocket.
Carl's going to look over at where he spotted those guys before.
You can't see it as well from the platform itself, but you do see. Do an alertness and a perception again. It's still quiet around here. Anna, you can do the same if you like.
Not going to defend myself.
Difficulties are 8.
So that's before heightened senses.
Heightened sense will be by 2, I believe.
Yeah, 2 in my case.
Yeah, so it goes down to 6.
Did you say difficulty of what?
8.
Oh, then nothing.
Yeah! My hacked app has come up trumps again.
In that case, yeah, you see some movement going on. You see some patrolling. And with your heightened senses as well, you hear a...
It's not, but to the speeded up brain of a cake user. He glances around, probably quite obviously to Seagull. His eyes flick left and right. They turn the bright blue from the dark brown that they normally are. They go to the bright blue of the Auspex user. His eyes dart around, and he hears that noise. His head will, because he's now suddenly on edge, his head will jerk in the direction of the sound.
Calm yourself, Schweiz. The Nosferatu of East Berlin are not so unified as your particular clan has clearly proven itself to be. We attempt many times to one-up each other by putting spies in each other's ranks, and it's part of the game, you see, that if a spy gets found, he does not get returned to his owner. That is a very useful talent you have, very useful talent you both have, but I'm not here as some talent recruiter for Prince Bridenstine. I'm not here to see what role you can play in the new regime. I was interested, but that is not why I'm here. I would like to know everything that you know. Now, I know we're lacking in time. The sun will come up. We've diverted where we're entering the city. What we need to know is where to strike in order to ensure that the East gets the firmest foothold in the West and eliminates these Tremere from outside of Berlin with minimum of fuss.
Well, I don't know where they are as a clan, but I know they were involved with the Church of St. John.
Church of St. John. And the rightful word.
Yeah,
There's a word name I haven't heard in 50 years. Interesting that should come back into use. Once a meeting place for certain kindred of certain persuasions. Thought they were all gone. But that's interesting. They're involved in that place, are they?
I think so. The Prince Siegfried of Hamburg is with them. He had a lot of Masonic symbology on his person.
Oh. We can't be involved in the elimination of a prince of another city, even if he is invading West Berlin. You understand far too much, far too many political repercussions. But we do need to entrench ourselves. The Church of St. John will be a good standing point. The name of any Elysia that you have in West Berlin, if we can send an occupying Ventru, child of Breitenstein or the like, or Nosferatu or Bruhar agent there to seize it and claim it as our own. If you know of any Elysia throughout the city, and I'm sure you do, then we would need all of their names. He, at that point, actually passes a piece of paper and a pen over to Masha. I'll let you write them, seeing as you're the keeper of Elysium, at least one Elysium. What about you, Anna? Anything you wish to add?
I suppose with your position and your reputation, you are already quite aware, as much as we are, what went down in the Reichstag.
We've only had pieces coming through. You can imagine with the airwaves being filled with various other pieces of news, mortal politics mostly, even the kindred are getting excited about it. Not every East Berlin kindred is aware of what's going to happen tomorrow. That would be stupid. There is... we heard that there was an attack on airmen. We heard that airmen got as far as the road outside the Reichstag. Whether he survived further than that, I believe he was being pursued. I can't speak for anyone else who was in the Reichstag at that time.
Mr. Schweitz here was.
Carl started off gesturing, and he's now practically flapping his arms at the guy. He seems to have something on his mind.
Schweitz?
You said that the church was a meeting place for kindred of a certain persuasion. Were they able to go invisible? He says, rather naively.
You've done a little digging, then. You've been poking around in a place that doesn't belong to you.
I see a lot, he says.
Did you encounter an invisible kindred in the church?
Yes, and someone that could put the fear of God into a mortal.
Oh, that old dandy. How wonderful. When we claim West Berlin, we'll have to have a reunion. Yes, several kindred could do that. But nothing to concern yourself with, Herr Schweitz.
Who was it? Who was it?
Oh, what, the old dandy?
Yes.
Information is power, Herr Schweitz. I could give you a name.
And I could tell you what happened in the Reichstag.
Well, what would a name do for you? What would you do with that information?
I would store it in my mind and remember it.
Hmm.
If we do have an enemy and that may be, or may not be working with the Tremere, I want to know who it is. And if he comes walking up to me in the street, not invisible and not using any fancy powers, going, "Hello, I am her," whatever, and says to me, "Yes, I'm your friend, I'm your ally," I want to punch him squarely in the jaw. I want to know what I'm up against.
Also, this has been an area of our investigation with this whole in this whole situation that we find ourselves in at the moment, that has remained shrouded in shadow, and as a matter of personal interest on top of personal security, and like Mr. Schweitz said about our knowing who our friends and enemies are, it's also a personal little peeve of not knowing what we're dealing with on a personal level.
Fine. For exact information of who came, who went, what fell within the Reichstag before Ehrman came running out, you give me that, I'll give you a name. See, this is the kind of exchange I can get involved in. This is the kind of bread and butter that keep me awake during the night. Tell me, then, Schweitz, what exactly happened?
Carol goes on to recount the story in as much detail as he can remember. He essentially does the recap that I did at the start of the session,
Yep.
down to like, who else was there, down to Schuller's escape, down to Glenda Cron's exit, pursuing Schuller, down to the identities of the chanting circle of Tremere, if he knew who any of them were. He might make mention of the fact that Joanna Richter seemed to have also been involved with Party Boy. But a lot of his chat will probably keep going back to the church, like, so he'll be saying, yeah, and that church, Party Boy was involved with them as well. It's all coming together now. And this person, whoever it is that you know, he must be involved. He must have been involved in a conspiracy that saw many of our clanmates burned alive.
The name of the kindred who I suspect is still dwelling within the church because he can't let go is one Peter Morgenstern. Now you have your name.
Carl nods his
A name
head.
with which you're familiar, I would wager.
No.
No.
He looks at Masha.
Morgenstern is quite reclusive, does not like people intruding on his areas of interest.
Do you think he could have been involved, or was he just there?
Not of his own volition. Morgenstern would rather keep himself to himself, but he is, at least as far as I know him, I didn't even know he was still in Berlin. I thought he had fled. But if he's still here, he would just want to be kept alone. Too fearful of going into torpor in case someone dug him up. Too fearful of introducing himself to other kindred in case someone attacked him.
But he might have seen what went on in that church.
Almost definitely. And, of course, his possession of that church and its utility. Very useful if the Tremere are involved in it. That is very useful information. I thank you sincerely, Herr Schweitz. Peter Morgenstern, the dandy, still with us. Who would have thought? Gustav will be delighted to hear that. Well. Not long till sunup. Hour and a half. Where do you wish to be when the combat takes place? There will inevitably be combat. We'll try and resolve everything during the day, you understand. But there will be events during the night as well. Do you wish to be on the front line, Clan Toreador? Do You wish to be behind Prince Bridenstine, clapping his back with support, or perhaps with a sharpened stake in hand to hand over to the Tremere. Everything I know about you, this group of yours, from the spies I have throughout your half of the city, has told me that you're mostly self-interested, mostly interested in the preservation of Clan Toreador. That is not an insult. It is a good way to ensure that you do not get killed, so it is very unfortunate that so many of you have been, to a degree. So, where will you stand tomorrow night?
I'm looking at Marsha in a way that if she's expecting to speak for the group or expecting everyone to voice their own opinions.
Marsha says, again, I will not speak for my entire clan, I will not command them. I have no love for Gustav Bridenstine's hatred of the arts and his conservative demeanor, but I believe that many of my family have been slaughtered as a result of the Tremere invasion, not through the actions of Gustav Bridenstine. So his Elysium, my Elysium are his Elysium. And we can only hope that we can come to cordial arrangements with Prince Bridenstine once all of this has settled. In short, while I am not some combatant, I can fire a gun as well as any woman that has lived through the first half of this rather dreadful century. I offer him all of the Elysium at my command to use for whatever purpose he deems fit. And the rest of you?
I'll voice my opinions by saying that well, seeing how everything has gone down and being realistic about anything I would have to offer, it would very much be I would be the most use and also serve my own ends as a concerned mother of my dear ghouls, my boys. I would very much be of most use behind the lines, ensuring the safety and well-being of Prince Bridenstine. It's my main drive at this point is to see my boys safe, as well as myself. So I would gladly take on the any responsibility of seeing to the safety of others.
Frau Van Hagen, I have something to perhaps better your offer. I'm aware of your boys. I have had someone watching their activities for quite some time. The control you exercise over your ghouls is something we talk about quite frequently in East Berlin, as we do not really have ghouls in East Berlin. We do not agree with the practice in general. But your ghouls will come in great use tomorrow during the day if you will allow me and my men to make use of your men, given that they will know West Berlin better than anyone else that we have, then we will owe you a debt. In fact, I will go further, and I will speak on the Prince's behalf as Chancellor of East Berlin, that when this settles, I will speak for you embracing one of your boys and bringing him into our particular, peculiar little family. if we may make use of all of them during the day tomorrow.
I'll kind of I'll have the kind of expression that I'm weighing in all the stuff that he's telling me, and I acknowledge it, but I also kind of turn to look at in the eyes of Klaus and Bruno, who are beside me, and I'll kind of look at them with this kind of very much like this concern, this loving concern, this kind of you know of someone whose sons are about to enlist or something like that.
Mm.
I squeeze I squeeze their hands tighter, and I'll say I can live by those terms. I can accept those terms. I'll just, before it all goes down, I wish I can as long as I can have some time with them before I need to send them off to your front lines or anything.
Well, you have the remainder of this night, but if that is sufficient for you, then take that time.
I'll nod firmly, but I will have like my mind is kind of wandering.
And Carl?
Carlin looks up at him as if snapped out of a thought he was having. And then he looks at Masha and says, I stand behind my Primogen.
Bridenstine prizes loyalty. No one would suspect you, Karl Schweitz. You are possibly the youngest kindred in West Berlin, as far as I am aware, from my own information network. No one would suspect that you are loyal to anyone after the death of your son, which we had suspected, but could not prove. Would you be prepared to play the role of assassin, Herr Schweitz, on the basis that your reward to share with Dieter, who will have to play a similar role, will be all of your sire's former statuses, properties, wealth, anything that we can recover from her portfolio and return to you, excluding the role of Harpy, which Bridenstine would like to control. We may have need of you to eliminate certain foes.
Carl looks troubled with this question, but his previously soft heart has hardened, and he looks up and he says, "If it's what needs to be done, this has to stop."
Good. We have an agreement. I must make my way back to the east.
Where shall I send my boys to?
Here. Leave them here. Some of my men will be staying here. They will give your boys orders. We know certain things, of course. We have our own spies throughout your part of the city, just as Eamon had his on ours. So we know some of where we need to strike. And we can put your boys to use, and they can lead us to places that we may not know well enough to launch attacks. But during the day is when all of this must happen. If anything is still going on by the close of tomorrow night, then we have a problem on our hands. But this should all be resolved. We should be able to drive Siegfried back. I'm sure of it. I'm confident of it. On that note, one thing. The Anarchs. Schwesig. I have been unable to reach him. He does not hold any respect for Reidenstein. Do you feel that they will be able to, just your honest personal opinion, do you feel that they will fall in line, or will they continue fighting? What would we have to offer them for them to fall in line, to put it another way?
I've never been clear on what exactly it is they want. I don't know. They keep talking about changing things. I don't know what it is they're trying to change or how.
Masha closes her eyes and opens them. Territory. They want Berlin, which all but Reinhard will accept cannot happen. All of the Anarchs know this. They are fighting for the sake of fighting. But if Bridenstine were prepared to cede certain territory within Berlin to allow the Anarchs to run as a small barony with their own laws. Now, we are not splitting the city in half again, Masha. That is not what we are here to do. No, no. Under the rule of Prince Bridenstine, the entire city under the rule of Prince Bridenstine, with certain small fiefdoms, certain strasse, certain buildings that are Anarch territory, like an embassy, like neutral ground, like Elysium, but with Anarch terms in those specific areas. So that if an Anarch crosses Bridenstine, they have a place to retreat to where they are sure the Camarilla cannot reach them. No, of course, Bridenstein's reach is long, and he will be able to reach them if you have to, but it is an important distinction. They would feel safer if they have their own territory in which to play and feel like it is, well, secure. And that is something I will have to check with Bridenstine. I cannot guarantee that he will agree to that without having met the Anarchs first. If any of you, if you can arrange meeting with the Anarchs and Bridenstine, or one of his representatives, then that would be more strongly considered, I'm sure. For me, the linchpin is Reinhard Schwesig. I think that for as long as he is their leader, he will bow or kneel or even accept that Bridenstine is prince. But that is something for you to take up if you feel that it is within your interests. I must, however, depart.
I'll as soon as he kind of gives that signal, I'll again give a courtesy and smile at him, but very quick after that, I'll have a serious tone and I'll look at my boys and I'll start to walk them away from the platform so that I can, you know, eventually call all my boys together so I can have like a moment with them.
Yeah, outside in the car park, a truck has turned up. a semi-truck, which could easily house your bodies during the day. Werner behind the wheel, he's climbing down. He's there. Fritz is there, and he explains to you as he goes up to you and hugs you as soon as he sees you. Clearly, he was concerned for your well-being. Friedrich is in the back, Mutter. He is still quite in another world, but he is breathing.
But he cannot stand on his own. He can stand up. He can't stand on his own 2 feet.
He can talk, but I cannot say that he is particularly likely to do his own thinking at this time. He is suffering from what we once called shell shock.
I understand. Well, there has been a truce has been struck, and you're all gonna play a part in it. And I'm gonna need all of you to come to me for a bit. Like I'll like wait for them to like huddle over or something like that, you know. To even if Friedrich is in the condition he is in, I'll leave him where he is, but I'll have Werner, Klaus, Bruno, and Fritz with me, you know, outside the truck.
Okay.
And I'll tell them that the thing is, most of the fighting with the between the West and the East is going to happen during the day, tomorrow or this day, in fact, and one of the I'll like one of the stipulations of our allegiance with the East is to get as much foot soldiers and get as much strength that can be wielded during the day. And a part of ensuring our safety, I've enlisted all of you into that service for tomorrow. And since I have no idea what there is to expect, and since I haven't been separated from you whenever it's been a situation like this where there's imminent danger around every corner, it's kind of a hard thing to ask from me, and for me to ask of you. But at this point, there is no other way but fighting in order to survive this. Whether we would fight for whatever side, it would always include fighting, and it would always include danger and the possibility of death and pain and suffering, but also the possibility of victory, and therefore peace and prosperity and more nights to come in our life. And it's just that giving up any of you in this manner is like giving a part of myself. I can't just chop my legs off and give them for somebody else to use. In the same way, asking me to give you up even for a day feels exactly like that. And it's I can't express strongly enough how each one of you completely fulfills me. Without any of you, with Friedrich in the state that he is in, I feel like a part of me is taken away from me throughout this time that he's been in his predicament. I know that I can be harsh and I know I can lash out, but I'm I'm not doing that out of anything but admiration and love, and the this overflowing emotion that I have for you boys. It's I'm sending you off to war at this point, but I'm expecting all of you to return because I know how good you are and how because how important you are to me. There's no other way I can even imagine it. It's you are coming back to me because I need my legs, I need my heart, I need my head to continue on living. And with that, with any of you gone, it's a vital part of myself being gone. It's just just know that throughout the entire day I will have you in my thoughts, and I will there's I would venture to say that there's no force on this earth that can separate you from me, but in order for us not to be separated in death, I need to send you off in this way. But we will see each other again once the sun goes down again. I'll 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 need to believe that, and know that your mutter loves you with all her heart, and I'll be like visibly like shaking as I'm uh, kind of breaking down as I'm doing it. It's like my throat is throbbing as I'm putting out words, and I couldn't be more proud if you were the first man on the moon, or and I start to pretty much I can't express myself any further really, and I just go to whoever is closest to me. I'll just like squeeze them as tight as I can.
You fall into Klaus's arms, but in fact, all of your boys cling to you. They all hug you, and as the bloody tears begin to roll down your cheeks, they kiss your face. They lick the tears away. They show you all the affection that the children they are to you are. They truly love you. They adore you. They are obsessed with you, and they would never let you down. They would never stop being your beloved children, your beloved sons. Werner's stroking your hair, and Bruno squeezes you tight, and Klaus is the first one to speak, and he says, we love you too, Mother, and we've been in plenty of scrapes before. We will be fine. One day, with a little bit of action, we'll make you proud. And Fritz says, I have let you down many times recently, Mutter, and I will make up for all of those failings. I will do everything that I can to make you proud of me. Werner speaks up and says, I will look after every one of these boys whilst you are sleeping, Mutter. I promise you, I will do my part, little one, and they will all be safe. I will be watching over them. And Bruno, a man of few words, for the most part, even he's welling up a bit. He takes a pair of shades out of his pocket and puts them on to conceal his eyes and to sniff, to hide back the tears. whoever we are pointed at, Muta, we will destroy them. I will physically throw them out of Berlin if I have to.
German suplex them out of Berlin. Yeah, I won't use any more words to just express how I feel. I'll go to each of them and I'll, with tears in my eyes, I'll give each of them a loving kiss. Like I'll squeeze their face and I'll give them a kiss on the cheek next to their mouths there, and like I'll squeeze and I'll press my face against theirs, and I'll then turn to all of them and I'll say, Werner, I want you to. I'm going to go into the car, into the back with Friedrich, and I will do my best to try and get him on his feet mentally. I need you to drive me to a obscure, secret location that wouldn't come to the enemy's mind. Something that has nothing to do with anything. Where you could park the car and leave me there, and once you've parked the car, if everything works out, you can take Friedrich from the back with you and get back here to the train station. And Klaus, Bruno, and Fritz, my dear boys, I'm going to need you to stay here and go back to the platform where we stood moments ago. You will be recruited from there. And Werner, I need you to take Friedrich with you once you arrive back here and go to that platform as well to meet your brothers.
Fritz puts his hand up. Muta, I do not wish to weaken you, given what is to come. But if we are all to serve during the day and be strong, I feel that we may all need to, you know.
I know. I'll like take a deep breath, and I know that I'm going to need to feed. I'm going to need to feed Friedrich, especially to try and rejuvenate him a bit. But I only have 3 points of blood.
Oh,
you and your confounded presence.
Yeah, I'm surrounded by ghouls and vessels and all that stuff, but I'm always parched. It's all these.
That's because you got to keep feeding the damn thing.
Yeah. But yeah, it's okay. Let's see. In game terms, what happens if I wake up with 0 blood points? Am I frenzying like a lunatic, or can I even wake up?
You're immediately torpid, I believe.
Yes.
I need to spend 1 blood point in order to wake up in the morning. So
exactly. So basically, if you go to sleep with only 1, and that's effectively 0.
Yeah. So in that case, it means pretty much that I'm going to need to drain somebody now and then feed my ghouls. Yeah, that's pretty much what I need to do. I'll turn to my ghouls and I'll say, I know that's necessary and I know that's what I wish to do, but I myself am rather low. So I will need your help in order to procure some misfortune sought off the streets in order to make this happen.
Given how close it is to dawn, I am going to make you roll a conscience roll, please.
Only conscience.
Just conscience. Basically, my reasoning behind it is this: you don't have enough time for them to go out, or one of them to go out, find a mortal, knock them over the head, bring them back to you, you to feed from them, you to deal with Friedrich, all of that before the sun comes up. Basically, if you want to feed, and you want to feed them, there is only one mortal vessel around here who is laying prone and would make easy prey, and unfortunately that's Friedrich. So, if you pass your conscience, you can basically agree to not feed your ghouls. And that just means those four will be going off somewhat half-cocked, but Friedrich will still be around. If you fail, and this is a bit of storyteller caveat here, I would say at this point Friedrich is actually the weakest of the bunch, and sometimes you need to cull out the weak, or cut out the weak bits to strengthen the remaining ones. After all, you know that these four will be engaged in possibly heated battle tomorrow, and you don't know for a fact, even after talking to Friedrich and giving him blood and so on, that he will even be up to that state.
There is an alternative, of course.
I'm not a very Nietzschean person. Anna is not a very Nietzschean.
The alternative would be to feed them up on Schweitz and Masha juice.
Do I need to succeed in a conscience throw in order to do what I mean to do, which is give one blood to spread around for the four of these boys, give one blood to Friedrich, go to sleep with one blood. If I go torpid, so be it.
One blood point spread between four ghouls will not be sufficient to give them the edge that they will need during the day. Basically, what will happen during the day, just to give you a bit of a sneak preview, you're going to be rolling for your boys' units, and they will have lower difficulties if they have a bit of Vitae inside them. For that to happen, they are going to each need a point of Vitae.
That's not possible.
No, it isn't possible with your current blood levels.
Can we not take it from other kindreds like Masha and I?
Yeah, you could feed from a vampire.
Yeah, that thought hasn't come to my mind at this point.
We're Sabbat now, yeah! Oh, dear.
No, but...
I thought the Sabbat Warriors game was over.
No. Let me clear this up. If I don't give them blood, are they operating with regular difficulties or higher difficulties?
It depends what they're going up against, quite frankly. So yeah, they'll be aiming for 6s on a normal check, for instance.
Okay.
But on the basis that they may be coming up against ghouls, which is a possibility, or they may be waking up vampires in their lairs, for instance. Being able to reduce that difficulty could help them out a great deal.
Yeah. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. Since Anna is not really like thinking through any kind of rules and anything like that, I'm just going to go purely for the what would Anna in this situation do, and that is not feed my boys, and I will use 2 blood points to try and revive Friedrich to a state of him being useful, and go to sleep with 1 blood point that I'm going to have to spend in order to wake up, or spend anywho for waking up. If I remain torpid, so be it. I'm not going to... I am quite willing to take a sacrifice of that length in order to look after my boys, but I won't sacrifice one of my boys for my own comfort or that sort of thing. If none of the boys survive, let me put it this way: if none of the boys survive, I don't want to survive, really.
Yeah.
And if one of them survives, one of them will come and get me, even if I'm torpid. So
In that case, I'm not going to make a roll. I'm quite happy for you to make that decision, and I'm quite happy for you to gain a point of humanity as a result of that in a kind of way. Which may be lost again, of course, if you find out all your boys are dead because they had.
Maybe lost again when she wakes up from torpor, frenzies, and drains the one survivor.
oh, come on,
Welcome to the
man.
world of darkness, kids.
But no, that speaks true to the character, I would say, as you've played her, definitely. You're not putting one on a pedestal above the others.
I don't know, if Carol's in earshot of this exchange, she'll probably be saying, can they not take some of mine or someone else's? He doesn't know the mechanics of this situation.
Yeah, I don't want any of them to be bloodbound to anyone else. You know, I don't want that to happen.
He doesn't,
yeah,
he doesn't
good point.
know that, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to when they first recommended me feeding them, I'll say the situation is thus that I haven't had the time or the opportunity to properly feed myself. The remaining mother's milk I have to give will have to go to your brother in order to try and rejuvenate him. I know that it would have given you an edge, but there's some things more important than that. I'm begging for you to understand.
Of course we do, Mota. Of course. We would never... You can beat us or not. We will do you proud.
Whoever said that, if it was
Fritz.
Fritz, I'll give him a little tap on the cheek and a smile, and I'll take a deep breath and relax my shoulders as low as I can, and kind of look up in the sky with my eyes closed, kind of thing, and then I'll just go to the back of the truck, and when I open it and I'm about to get in, I'll look at my boys and I'll do them a little wave, and after that I'll immediately have this kind of a jolt, and I'll cover my mouth with my hand to stop myself from getting overly emotional, and I'll climb into the back of the truck.
Okay, and do you wish to do your treatment on Friedrich in private? Are you intending for Werner to drive you and Friedrich away and then to come back and pick up the other vampires, or are you happy for the other vampires to get in the back of the truck?
You're not getting a choice in the matter, son. I'm getting out the sunshine.
Oh, I thought when you mentioned what the truck looks like, I thought you said that I could fit there, so I kind of just interpreted that as one person fits there. But
oh no, this isn't just for you. This is for all for Toreador.
Okay, good. In that case, in that case, I would have said it in the way to Werner that drive me after I've gotten Friedrich out of it, and I mean drive all of us after I've gotten Friedrich out of it.
Okay, so you wish to do the Friedrich treatment whilst
In private, inside the car, before everyone else comes, and once everyone else comes, Werner can drive us off and then walk back into, or however he wishes to get back here.
Okay. Carl, while that's going on, we'll get back to Anna. Dieter leans in to Carl. So we are assassins now, brother.
You know, it's sad. After watching the display with Anna and her boys and the sort of familial closeness and such, he feels almost quite ashamed that he basically ripped his so-called mother's face off with his own teeth.
He carried on talking. wonder at who we will be sent to eliminate.
Oh, he didn't. He didn't go into that.
Hmm. I do not. I noticed, of course, earlier tonight we had a cordial meeting with the Anarchs. I would feel uncomfortable being assigned to murder Reinhard after we had parted on such amicable terms.
Mm. Yes, as would I.
But then I suppose we report to a different master now, don't we?
It's always a different master, and it's always the same thing.
I've been a one of the kindred, as we like to call ourselves, since the late 19th century, Carl. The jihad that goes on, the manipulation, the pulling of the strings, all these elders and ancilli tugging away at each other, making other kindred dance to their tune. You will always be told that you have a master. But the one thing elders always forget is the world is bigger than them now. Maybe 100, 200 years ago you were trapped and a master could do whatever he wanted to. He could punish you, he could hound you to the edge of the city and cast you out into the wilderness. But now, all we have to do is catch a flight, a night flight, land somewhere else, start afresh. I'm offering to you, Carl, if we are given orders to kill, and the target is just plain wrong, we should not be killing that target. And we can tell that in our guts. Then you are perfectly welcome to come with me when I leave this fucking fucked up city.
Where would you go?
I have some contacts down in the south of France and around Strasbourg, that area.
Was that where Carol went to study cooking?
Yeah.
Ah. Carol's eyes sort of light up and he glances over at him and says, Strasbourg.
And failing that, I happen to know the Harpy of Oslo.
No,
So, yeah.
no, Strasbourg. He just nods his head.
Keep it in mind. I am a sommelier. I'm a vintner. I was embraced for my knowledge of wine and eventually my capacity to combine it with vitae and make for heady vintages, and how simple our existence seemed when that was all I was doing night to night. I am not a hired killer. I will do what Siegel and Bridenstine say if it is not going to impinge on my conscience. But I do have a conscience. And I recommend to you that you try and maintain your own.
Have you ever considered, and he sort of smiles sheepishly, returning almost to the shy, retiring immediate Carol that existed before all this nonsense happened to him? You ever considered feeding your vessels certain foods to sweeten the flavour?
I wouldn't be a very responsible vintner if I was spiking my vintages. Most drinkers could tell, Schweitz. Do not deny I miss at times the heady brew of Hell's vein. I can still taste it. I can still taste Helga. At that point, I'd like you to roll a willpower, please.
Boop. Not knowing the difficulty, which I'm assuming is 6.
No, difficulty is going to be 7.
It's still 1 success.
1 success. In that case, although you hear this, you don't feel compelled to act on it. It's like your vision suddenly shakes. It's like everything just vibrates rapidly as a voice echo within your head. Helga suddenly screaming from behind your eyes to kill him, kill that boy, kill that failure of a son of mine, kill him now.
Carl looks at Dieter, his eyes widen, and a smile touches his face, and his mannerisms change quite dramatically, quite suddenly. And he says, "Of course, darling, you wouldn't do anything like that. No, you were always much better than that." And then he blinks heavily and returns to kind of... it seems to almost not actually know what he just did, or that he in fact said anything. So, Strasbourg then.
Yes, Strasbourg. I extend that offer to you as my brother.
Yes, maybe we can make something wonderful down there. With your wines and my food. And he smiles again.
Restaurants built especially for kindred.
We could call it Roth bars. And he like tosses locks of imaginary hair when he does this, don't exist on his head.
He just stares at that. No, I do not think so. I think that now that she is gone, we should distance ourselves from her memory as much as we possibly can. She was a cancer, a plague. I do not regret that I exist, but I regret that it was her that made me. Do another willpower, please.
Yeah. Still 7s, yeah?
Yeah.
2 this time.
Yeah. The voice is still in your head. It's not shouting this time, but it's intense. And it tells you, have you ever tasted your brother, Carl? Have you ever tasted the meat, the blood oozing between your teeth? You would like to taste him. Look at that neck. Look at that vein. It looks dead, but the blood inside it, it flows and it tastes even better than mine. It is tapped with the finest grape. You wish to taste it on your tongue, don't you, Carl?
Carl actually answers, going, yes, but obviously it would come across as him answering Dieter's remarks. Yes. And he licks his, runs his tongue across his teeth, his fangs probably extending ever so slightly. Yes, we could create something very tasty with that, yes. And he's, he's looking at him like a fresh cut of steak. But no, he doesn't immediately bound towards him. He's been ordered to.
Did he freeze?
I think I've killed him.
Frozen!
Oh no.
Ah, cool body. We could
Oh, no.
go through all of the Mr. Freeze puns at this.
I think we should do have this interlude with David Hasselhoff cover. We're going to sing "Looking for Dawkins."
Yeah, I think that'll create an image of somebody completely different.
Obviously, my Helga Rothbauer impression was too much for him.
Well, it did freeze on a nice smile, though.
I don't even know if on the YouTube channel this drops out the recording. Possibly not. Hi everyone.
It still says live on the corner, so.
It does. Yes. My name's John Burke. You might remember me from such. Oh, dear. Yeah, I think we're still on.
Okay, good. So, I guess if he just picks up on the same link he sent us, he'll just join this.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, he did mention about something about formatting his computer just a while ago. So,
We should have
maybe complications.
we should have a screen that we can put up. I'm going to find one right now. Anyone,
Yeah.
anyone want to send in a photo if you've got me on Facebook or something? Just like, the Ivory Wall will be back after these technical difficulties.
Am I here? Can you
There
see
it
me?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, where did I get cut off?
I had just essentially said to, I'd basically got a reaction from the Helga, the little bit of Helga in my head about Dieter's remarks, but I just sort of, Carnes ran his tongue along his teeth and smiled, and his remarks would have come across as kind of being about opening a restaurant. Oh yes, we could make something very delicious there.
Yes, when she was talking about tasting your brother.
Taste your brother.
So, meanwhile, in the back of the truck.
Yeah. I think if
I'll have this ready if it all goes wrong, I guess.
yeah, we should have showed that one. But yeah, I'm imagining Friedrich is like resting on his back or something like that in there.
No, he's not completely paralyzed or paralytic or the like. He's actually sat at the back of the truck with sort of wrapped up, still wide-eyed. His hair still shot with white. He still looks like a scared little bunny rabbit.
Okay, I'll I'll go sit beside him. I won't go sit right next to him. Like I'll first go like sit beside him with my feet also like bent in the similar way as he is, and I'll be looking him in the eye with a warm smile. And I'll I'll just tell him. I'll ask him. How are you feeling?
I saw him. I saw the face of God, but he judged me.
I'll move from there to next to him. I'll like sit beside him, and I'll like run my hand down his cheek, like looking at him like like a sick child. I'll uh, I'll just tell him that you don't look very healthy.
I should be I should be I should be dead, Musa. I should not be breathing. I saw the face of God, Musa, and only dead people see the face of God.
Listen, you're most likely still living because there's still people who desperately need you to be here. People like me, people like your brothers. They they can't have you die because that would ultimately make them die. If you were removed from me, it would be like my heart being removed from me.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't don't. I don't like the thought of it. I don't like the thought of it. I can see it. I can see it, and I don't like thinking about it.
Look
He's-
here. I'll like hold him tighter with my hand. I'll like hold his head in my hand, type of thing. I'll look him in the eye, like straight up, and I'll use. I know I really don't like need to use perhaps, but I will still. Oh wait, if these need blood,
Yeah.
yeah, it would be a pretty bad waste.
That's how you got in
I'll-
this situation in the first place.
I think Majesty costs willpower.
Yeah, but that's I think that's maybe too potent for this situation, perhaps.
For his uh, sake, well,
But
freedom.
yeah, that's yeah. Actually, now that since I did regain all of my willpower, I do have some to spare. So in that sense, I will, especially since the way to resist it is to use. I can't remember what it was actually, but yeah, I will spend that one willpower point, and I will use Majesty on him when I mentioned to him that that he's alive because we are dependent on him being alive, and I can't lose him. I'll once I turn his head towards me, I'm fully using this discipline, and I'm looking him straight deep, like through his eyes, like penetrating right into his right into his mind, and I'll I'll tell him that that you need to concentrate now. You need to get back on Earth. You need to get back on top of the situation. I need you. I need you. Your brothers need you in order for us to continue on living. We need you to make sure this family doesn't die off. We need you to give your fullest, like you always have. I know you've had your fits of jealousy when it comes to your brothers, and especially when it came to that certain girl, and I forgive you for all of those things because you were acting purely out of love for me, and as you will know, the fit I threw at you was out of love for you. I need you to be in shape. I need you to be concentrated, and I need to know that you're going to be okay. There's no way I'm going to be okay unless I know you are. And I need you to let me help you get through this. I need you. I'll be like creeping closer to him as I'm uh, talking to him, attempting to basically work it into me uh, feeding him.
And you spend your point of willpower.
Yeah.
In that case, he unscrunches his eyes. He looks at you sadly, but obediently, and nods his head. And he says, "Please feed me your blood, Muta."
I'll uh, I'll I'll take my claws like and I'll slash my own neck there. You know, nothing huge, just so that he can feed. And I'll slash it, and as I was getting closer to him, I'll press his head onto my neck so that his ear is right next to my mouth still, so I can keep whispering to him as he's feeding. I'll feed him those 2 points of blood that I mentioned earlier, and I'll whisper to him that first I'll be like stroking his hair and being all like there you go, that sort of thing, you know. But I'll also whisper to him that um, once this is all over, once tomorrow is done, once all this violence and horror subsides, I've been given a promise to give one of you boys the gift I've been waiting for permission to give you for ages. The gift that the gangrel prince of the West would deny me to give you, the very gift that is what makes you fully into a son of mine. And I will be able to give it to one of you. I know you've been jealous over the affections I've been giving to the rest of your brothers as well as you, but I need you to focus on that. If you do well, if you serve well, if you give it your all, you will be given just rewards, my son. And I'll caress his head.
Friedrich, who pulls his head back from your wrist, now has a big smile on his face. He's clearly unhinged, even though you have given him a certain state of lucidity. But he's still not quite right. His grin is wide, it's toothy, his teeth are caked in blood. I will not let you down, Mutter. I will never let you down again.
I put my hands on his cheeks and I give him a kiss on the side of his face, and I'll as I go to lay down on my side to the ground, I'll like say in this tired tone, and I'll just say, "Go and make your Mutter proud," and I'll go and lay down.
You, as you're resting your head, you feel him stroking your hair, and then you pass for the day. And Carl, are you climbing into the truck as Friedrich climbs out? You're muted.
Oh, so he'll probably get in last. He'll wait for Al to get in. Sort of looking back at the train station before he clambers in.
Masha has been completely silent since you left the train platform. As she does so, she does climb into the truck. And Dieter actually climbs up and then offers a hand to help you up.
Yeah, he'll take whatever help's going. He plumps himself down next to Masha and says to her, "What do you make of all this?"
I regret not going into torpor when I was first tempted to, Carl. What do I make of this? The big yacht clubs are waving their dicks at one another. They don't care how many of us solitary sailors they crush and cast into the seas, roiling, merciless. The mouths of fish and men will consume every one of us. We will be lost beneath the darkness, for the sea at night is terrible, and no light penetrates its depths.
Why do you stay here?
My mortal family are in Berlin. I lost most of them to the Nazis. I tried to protect most of them. Well, I tried to protect all of them. They, as I, are Jewish. And there are certain gifts that a kindred has to safeguard the existence of a mortal. But Mm, there was only so much I could do. There was so much I could not do during the day. And I could not ever tell my mortal family that I was protecting them. That is, it was all done secretively. Because I was afraid of what they would think if they found out about me. Their grandmother still with them. Well, there's not many of them left now. Very few. But I will always work to see them get the best life. And I will never make them leave the city they call their home. I am the passenger in their life. They are the host. It is up to them where they go, and I will just follow them. If they eventually move to New York, I'll go with them to New York. If they went to Paris, I'd go with them to Paris. But I cannot leave them to fend for themselves. There's too much danger in the world.
Do you never get worried they might see you, find you?
No, I'm good at covering my tracks. They lost so much. I very much doubt they even have a photograph of me. They would even know who I was. So maybe I could go up to them, act as a benefactor, but why open those wounds? Why do anything like that? I do not wish for them to join our society. You understand, Carl? I do not wish for them to become kindred. I do not wish for them to become ghouls. I want for them to live healthy, happy, mortal existences with all the joys that come with it. I don't want them to have to just subsist off of blood or become monsters. But I would never feel secure funding them from afar. I need to be able to see them. I need to be able to watch them if I have to. I need to know that they are safe, because I've lost too many. Lost far, far too many now.
But from what I'm hearing, Friedenstein doesn't like loose ends.
Whatever happens, Karl, I am not leaving Berlin. Not unless my mortal family do likewise. Now they've got every reason to stay. The wall's coming down. Hope has returned. Why would anyone leave Berlin at this time?
Strangely ironic, isn't it?
Well, I'm sure in the East they feel the same way. I'm sure they all feel very excited. But they must have a certain sense of dread. Bridenstine must wonder what awaits him in the West. He can hardly expect that we're standing here with open arms. But everything is played to his advantage. Eamon, if he is dead, that is a rival gone. The Tremere have met no one here that is not Tremere, trusts the Tremere. The Anarchs are too few. Tremere have done Bridenstine's work for him, even if he did not commission it.
What if he
Right.
did?
What if he did? His hatred for the Tremere is renowned. If he has made alliance with them, then, well, good for him. He's played the jihad better than anyone else that I have ever encountered. I doubt that that is the case. I very much doubt it. You would not have seen Prince Siegfried himself here at the behest of Prince Bridenstine, I promise you that.
It seems strange, though. I take it the Tremere aren't known for being given over to bouts of stupidity. This looks open and shut, but it can't be. There must be more to it.
I have no idea what the Camarilla think of what's going on. I do not have an inside track to Zurich or wherever the hell it is they host their under-the-table meetings, but one would only assume that they are either fine with a battle between possible princes, or that they have supported one over the other. Now, Breitenstein has rendered a Justicar torpid before now. I know that Prince Siegfried is seen as a prince in good standing. It is not impossible that a prince could hold more than one city. It has happened before. But my expectation, were I a betting woman, expect Siegfried to have the ostensible backing of the Camarilla under the basis that once all this is over, Joanna Richter would be appointed prince. Or perhaps Prendergast, but probably Richter. Or maybe no prince at all, just a chancellor of this city, with it reporting into Hamburg. That is a guess, but I believe it is probably correct. I don't think the Tremere would do something so forward without permission.
And you don't think that they would openly do this to help Bridenstine, therefore they wouldn't have went into this conflict if they didn't think they had the strength to beat him?
Exactly. Of course, we are operating on the assumption that the Tremere want all of Berlin. What if the Camarilla and the Tremere are quite happy for Breitenstein to keep East Berlin? It is just West Berlin that they want in the hands of a secure and authoritarian prince that is not Breitenstein.
It's not. That's too. It's too untidy. Bridenstein's still sitting there like a big cancerous growth on their face, ready to swoop down and cause them trouble.
Yes, but who knows the workings of a Tremere mind? They see things in shapes and colours. They do not see things plainly. It's all mathematical formulae as far as I'm concerned, the workings of a Tremere.
I don't know, it looked like a whole load of superstitious bullshit to me.
One thing's for sure. I very much doubt we're going to see Prince Airman making a resurgence.
He may surprise us yet.
He is Gangle, they are hardy.
Sorry,
the truck have started to move, by the way.
Yeah, Carlo started to say sorry to disturb you and sit back to his own thoughts.
Okay. Werner drives you somewhere. By the time you reach your destination, the sun has come up, and you are all asleep in the back of the truck. So, the conclusion of this session is actually going to see the two of you rolling for the 5 ghouls.
You let me roll for them, alright, so we have winners here. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because if Eunice was doing it, they'd all end up dead.
I'm sorry, Eunice, but this is where my rolls are going to go bad, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, this is definitely something I would like John to roll for me.
He gets to roll. You get to choose which ghouls you're rolling for at any given time, and it's good that this is recorded because I'll be referring back to this. What I'm not telling you is what your ghouls are going through. I will tell you what you will be rolling for them and what their total dice pools will be. As you are not these characters, you will not know the exact scenes until survivors, Reservoir Dogs style, come back together the following night to say, who's the fucking rep? Yes, sorry, Eunice?
Something that has kind of flipped back and forth every once in a while, and I didn't want to didn't want to interrupt a scene as it was going on and that sort of thing because it wasn't a big deal at the time. but sometimes the ghouls have been using potency. And from the start of the game, I mentioned that every single ghoul of mine has 1 dot in celerity.
Yes,
With no exceptions.
I remember we covered that when the gate was driven through Party Boy. I think I said at that point, because I had played Fritz as having potence once before when he was kicking the shit out of the Nazi Danish guy from outside of your club, that he was the only one who did have potence. The other 4 all had celerity.
He was quoting Von Trier, like, "I understand Hitler." In actual fact, I'm a Nazi. But yeah.
I will not be doing publicity anymore. Ah!
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, yeah. So each one of them has celerity.
As I've already established that in another video, so I'm going to hold with that, I'm afraid. Fritz does have potence, the others do have celerity.
Okay.
Carol has celery and celerity.
Yeah, celeriac as well.
Yes, sell everything, pretty much. Sell a door.
Okay, so, which ghouls, Eunice, you get to divide your ghouls between the 2 of you as players.
All 5 will be rolled for by John Burt.
I'm gonna be rolling for the ones I wouldn't mind as much if they would perish.
It's all coming out.
John is gonna roll for my most loved ones. So John is going to be rolling for Werner and Bruno, and I will be rolling for Klaus, Fritz, and Friedrich. I will take the 3 over 2 just to make it fair that I'm not really taking that much advantage of Carl's. I mean,
as we're not getting the exact scenes, I think that we should editorialise these dice rolls with Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross commentary. Just
well, you think what's going on is they've just gone to the Berlin Silver Dome or something like that. They've indulged in a hardcore battle royale.
It could be enough to swing the momentum.
Alright, first things first then. We need from from Eunice. So this is Fritz.
Okay.
Fritz is going to be rolling 3 points of dexterity.
Okay.
And 2 points in firearms.
Okay. And the difficulty is?
Difficulty is going to be a straight 6 at this point.
8, 9, 4, 10, 2. Nice.
Excellent.
So
good success.
4 successes.
Brilliant. Okay, and now for Werner. Werner is going to be rolling 2 points for perception, 3 points for alertness.
Is that 6s again?
Yep, this one's 6s.
Can you feel it? Can you taste it? There we go. Good God Almighty! He is broken in half!
Yeah, he is. He sees the demolition ball coming as he stands on top of the Berlin Wall.
He was looking for freedom in all the wrong places.
Yeah. Klaus now. Klaus is actually going to be rolling 3 points of charisma and 4 points of performance.
All right.
He is the talker of the group.
Yeah.
And the difficulty?
Difficulty 6s.
1, 8, 2, 1, 8, 1, 3. 3 ones in one roll. So that takes 1 success away, 1 success away, and it leaves me with 1 botch.
Oh.
That's still just a failure.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Okay, and now to Bruno. Bruno is doing an intimidation and charisma. That's going to be 6 dice, please.
6s again.
Yep.
Okay. And they're left cowering in the corner as Big Papa Pump puts his chainmail hat on and his shades. He doesn't actually say anything, he just goes, touches his bicep, and they just run in the opposite direction.
Starts doing push-ups right in front of his enemy.
That's that thing from Disney World. Perhaps you need a hand. Just starts doing them one-handed. Yeah.
And now Friedrich, the oddball, is going to be rolling an intelligence and an occult.
He's the one that had the tasty blood, isn't he?
He is only going to be rolling 2 dice.
What? 6.
Yep, 6s.
8 and 7. So.
Oh.
8 and 7. Okay. Well done, Friedrich. That was surprising. The sun.
9.
And the truck is opened up.
9!
Because your ghouls are too busy succeeding at the rolls. Okay, so that's the first wave done. There's only 1 wave of rolls left to go. And so far, the only person who is losing is Klaus.
Klaus spin! Hands like a traction engine. Yeah.
So Fritz. Fritz at this point is doing a medicine and an intelligence roll. He needs to roll 4 dice, please.
That's 1, 5, 4, 2. So 1 botch.
Oh no.
Okay. And
I don't want to know who he was healing.
I can see I've been shot, but I think I'll be okay.
Look, this finger goes all the way through.
It's one clean chunk. Yeah.
Werner, these dice pools are potentially going to be less what the ghouls are focused on. Werner, at this point, has to do a brawl plus strength. He has to roll 3 dice, and as he has, no, it's not a celerity-based one, so yeah, brawl and strength.
Failure.
Oh God.
Good God! Good God! That's it. He's dead.
Stone cold! Stone cold!
I think he passed his first roll at least. I stutter!
My God, he's a monster. We've now got some real homosexual spirit in here, Michael. That's Jamie L, by the way. Okay. There's Hooty Booty Fruity. We are now on to Klaus again. Klaus needs to roll his stamina. 3 dice.
That sounds distinctly like he's soaking here.
10, 10, 6.
Oh! Okay. Okay, that's good stuff for Klaus. Bruno. Bruno needs to roll a firearms and a dexterity, as he does have a point of celerity.
Yeah.
We can apply that. In fact, yeah, alright, so firearms and dexterity, so that is going to be 5 dice, please.
5 dice. It's all going horribly wrong for me. I knew it.
Now is the time to roll your bad rolls. What the hell, man?
As he has a point of celerity, I'm allowing him an additional action. Roll again. I'll let you have a second roll with Bruno. I've got a reason for this. It's all scripted.
Oh, and this time he hits the mark.
Okay. He's a mark for himself.
He shoots his biggest fan. My God, that really hit the mark.
He just shot Rick Steiner.
Maybe he'll tattoo like that.
The mouth of the south. Shot the mouth of the south right through the megaphone. Oh dear. This is out of hand.
Yeah. And that leaves us with Crazy Friedrich. Friedrich is rolling drive and dexterity. That is a total of 4 dice. He
So
also
yes.
has celerity.
Yeah, 5 for his passive.
1, 10, 4, 10. So only that 1, 10 remains, and that is 2.
You've got an extra dice. You only rolled 4 dice.
Yeah, get another one.
What?
Roll another dice.
Oh yeah, he had celerity.
Yeah.
4, 5, 9, 1. So nothing because
Nothing on the second
one.
one. That's fine. That's fine. He only needed 1 success for that. So, what were those dice rolls about? What was Klaus trying to perform? Why was he then trying to soak? Who was Fritz shooting at? What was Werner trying to spot? And so it goes. What was Friedrich trying to do with his occult roll? Do you think he may have been engaged in a kind of Premier Award? And why?
Is it Ward versus Kindred, or is it Ward versus Human? I don't know.
We will find out in the next exciting session of the Ivory Wall, but for now, all we know for sure is the only ghoul who I think failed twice was Klaus.
Klaus Ben.
Is
he not the one that just drove away?
No, Klaus is the big jolly one who runs after Mouth. So yeah, we will see what the outcome of all of that is. No, Klaus didn't fail twice. He soaked successfully. I forgot. Yes, he did. Fortunately, we've got all this recorded, so I will be able to review it to write out exactly what the results were.
Yeah, unless Friedrich is the only one who lived through it, that's the only way I'll embrace him, actually. There's no way I'll actually go through
you bitch, after what you did to get him all pumped up.
Yeah.
Big Papa Pump.
Yeah.
Big Papa pumped up. Well, that's it for us. So thank you very much for watching, and we will now be stopping the broadcast. And when we reprise, the Berlin Wall will have come down.
No! Oh, hold on, that's a good thing.